This is fight 187. It's against Pet Yodjing Mor Rachapat Jombung, 51 kilos. And this is exciting for me. This is my very first Chuek fight. So Chuek, I knew at the time, means that you don't wear gloves. So you just have the, you can see on my hands right now, you just rope wrap your hands. You have very, very small, like, socks underneath the ropes, and then the ropes go over that, but there's no padding. Like, it's basically a bare knuckle, but you're wearing ropes. And I didn't know that there's a different rule set, so I went into this a little bit blind, but I was excited for it. And the reason I'm excited to be voicing this over as my first Chuek fight is that I've had 13 Chuek fights, and it's like my favorite format to fight in. The way I got into this is that a good while before this, I had fought on a Chuek show, but I had fought Muay Thai on a Chuek show. So these promotions also have Muay Thai with gloves, but only like 2 fights out of like 10 or something. So I had fought against Gao Da, who's like my nemesis, in Muay Thai on one of these shows. And so a headhunter had my contact information, and he had contacted me to fight Muay Thai on the show again. And I told him I want to fight Chuek. And he was like, shocked that they didn't have women fighting Chuek at all, and he was shocked that I said I wanted to do this. So he was like, okay, we'll figure it out. And so I'm actually the first, me and Pet Yodjing are the first female fighters to fight Chuek on this show, and this is like the biggest Chuek show other than Thai Fight, which doesn't have women fighting Chuek. So that's exciting. And another woman from Estonia started being kind of a big thing on this show as well. So if you know Callista Parts, you can see her on this same promotion. We fought on the same card a couple of times. But I love Chuek. There's no points. They don't give any points. So you either knock out or nothing. Like, you can only win or lose by knockout, otherwise it's a draw. And I didn't know that going into this fight. I didn't know you had to knock someone out in order to get any kind of result. So my opponent, Pet Yodjing, right here, she's actually a boxing champion. She's a world champion in boxing. She traveled abroad and won her belt a little bit after we fought, maybe like 6 months. The announcers are making a big deal about my like hunter assassin thing that I do to the corner. People who have never seen it before, and then they see a Farang do it, they get really excited. My Ramoi comes from my first teacher, Master K, who's a 80-year-old Thai man who teaches out of his basement in New Jersey. He taught me the Ramoi, and I've done the same one that he taught me in all 268 of my fights now. I'm voicing this 4 years after the fact, so I actually don't remember a lot about the details of this fight, but I remember it being my first Chuek. So actually, the man in my corner is Pisong. He's the one who booked me for the fight. And I go without a corner to these places, so he just cornered for me there. This guy in the front, kind of near the camera, this is Dodo. He's like the mascot of Thai sports. He's everywhere. I don't know how he travels between things so quickly. He's like magical, and there's only one of them. It's not like there's like someone who can do Dodo in other places. Like it's Dodo every time. It's amazing. So I don't think Pet Yodjing knew either that this was a knockout or nothing. So we're basically just fighting it like a normal Muay Thai fight. You can see she's quite a bit bigger than me. At 51 kilos, she's probably like 4 or 5 kilos bigger than me at that point in my fighting. The thing that I really like about Chuek is that there's like a freedom of movement to not wearing gloves. Like if you practice with shin guards and then you fight without shin guards, and you feel just the kind of like natural feeling of not having that weight on your shins. It's the same thing with fists. It feels really good to just have this kind of hammer on the end of your arms. She has really nice rhythm. See how she's like stepping, and then attacking? And she's actually landing quite a bit of those kicks, but because it's cart Chuek, it doesn't matter. So she's landing to my closed side, which is not a huge point. There's no points in cart Chuek, but we're both thinking this is normal Muay Thai. So here I come in with my clinch that she's not prepared for. Clinching with cart Chuek ropes on is very interesting because you actually have more use of your hands. In gloves, you have no use of your hands at all. I went southpaw for a second there. Yeah, I'm southpaw now. So that's something that Karhat had done, is that he switched me to be able to fight southpaw, so I could be a switching fighter to put my strong side in the front. Because she's a right kicker, that's actually a slightly dangerous thing to do, because that turns the side she's kicking on into my open side. But my Dern is actually better now than it was at the start of the round. She was kind of just step back tagging me, and now my Dern is closing in a little bit better. I caught her leg there, almost put her down, but not quite. End of round one. I'm happy with that round. It was really exciting to go do a promotion that I was very unfamiliar with, a format that I was more unfamiliar with than I thought. I felt very free in this fight. Like, I felt like I didn't have any of the pressures of like performance or expectations because I didn't know anybody and I've never been on this show before. And so the freedom of cart Chuek really just like got into me. My dong toi is what the announcer is saying. He's saying you don't have to back up, and he's talking about my opponent. Because it's cart Chuek, you want it to be like in each other's business all the time. There's no like, oh, I kind of slipped you in cart Chuek. There's no femur cart Chuek. Oh, that teep worked pretty well for me. Oh, that's a nice little knee. She, maybe because specifically she's a boxing champion, she's really unfamiliar with the clinch. I really had my advantage in the clinch, and her advantage was this incredible length that she has, and she kicks long. So she's nailing me with those kicks when I'm still like way too far away to touch her with anything. She's really nice rhythm. I need to kind of steal that. I'm Derning really nice, but I don't have the jungwa. I don't have a rhythm. I kind of break my rhythm. I stop and then I do something. Nice open side knee. Oh, nice one from me actually. Oh. And Sylvie being a total dick, bouncing on her while she's in the ropes. Oh, that's I think that was a hook, but maybe it was an elbow from her. She's pissed at me. She just cut me with that beautiful elbow because of what I did to her in the ropes. That was a really nice upward elbow from her. And again, I've never fought on this promotion before, so the announcers don't know that I don't fucking care if I have a cut on my face. Like, they maybe assumed that in round two, now that I'm cut, it's kind of like, oh, it's going downhill from here, but I don't care. I'm very used to this. So you can see that's a nice one right up here. That won't be getting in my eyes. I don't know in cart Chuek whether they do like doctor stoppages for cuts going in the eye. I don't know if that's a thing. But it affects how someone fights to be cut for sure. That was she teeped me while I was kicking and just put me right on my ass. It was good. Oh, she's trying to do that elbow again. So she's coming in. That upward elbow is called Tatmala, and she's doing it with her left side, which is really good. That's my open side, and then she's following with like a right fan sok, which is the one that kind of comes across. Oh, she is going for it. So she's really going after that cut. She's an aggressive fighter, which is really good. I'm trying to come in for the clinch because that protects me against the elbows, but that's also where I can do anything I do. The announcers are very excited by this. It's a female fight that's become incredibly aggressive. It's got elbows, blood. Oh. Oh, that is a good lock from me, and I'm twisting around her. She can't get out. I tried to throw an elbow behind her there, which at least looks really aggressive, but I had no power on it from my angle. But you see she's got a little bit more urgency in her backwards bounce now. She's trying to time this elbow. There's quite a bit of blood there. I'm like, yeah, let's go. This is why this promoter loves me, I think, is that this was my introduction to him. Oh, she has a good lock there, actually. She's had a hard time in the clinch up until now, but she actually got a dominant position there for a second. Oh. So again, I'm not getting any points by locking her and kneeing her like this. This is not a points game. I can basically, I'm apologizing to her because I need her after the referee was breaking us. Because there's no points, it doesn't matter if those knees are points knees or not. What matters is whether they're hurting her or not, because I can drain her to ultimately wear her out and maybe knock her out. But unless a knee knocks her out, there's no scorecard, so it doesn't really matter. So you're basically always working towards a knockout. I didn't know that. I don't think she knew that because we didn't know the format of Karchit. It's exciting though. It's a good fight. I like how aggressive she is. I don't get to fight aggressive fighters that often. Oh, look how long her punches are. God damn. So, because she's a boxer, she's actually going to punching and elbows. In her last round, she knew to go for the elbows because of the cut, but had kind of forgotten about the punches. She's really good at punching. She's locked up here, though, so she can't punch. That's what Diesel Noi did, too, is he would lock people's arms. So the announcers are excited because they're saying that I'm bleeding, but I'm not stopping. Mayut le means like not stopping at all. Doesn't bother me. It's all right. So I gotta pull her off the ropes here. I gotta pop her off the ropes in order to get an angle for a knee or something. Oh, there's some blood there. The thing about, oh, did a little like, come in there. Oh, she is going for that elbow. She's so good at that. Oh, that's nice for me. I've got my arms on the front of her body so I can kind of lock her out, and then I tried to swim in, which lost that wedge position, and she was able to grab my body. Oh, she tried to knee me as her back hit the rope. I was lucky that didn't land. I've been hit by that before. Oh, elbow from Sylvie. It's like a Yod Kun Pan elbow. The blood on my rope. Oh, and a little knee. I'm sorry, a little soccer kick while she's down there. It was a gesture. I didn't actually kick her while she was down. Oh man. So here I'm able to get a pretty good lock. Oh, drag back and knee. Oh, how did she pop out of that? Oh, and a spinning back elbow. The announcers are very excited about that. I'm jumping around because, again, I don't know that there's no points, but that was a very dominant moment for me. I almost had the knockout with this drag back. See this position she's in, and she was able to actually block that final knee with her forearm. That's not something you want to do a lot of, but if you can protect yourself with your elbows and forearms, it kind of hurts my thighs and things like that. Oh, I got a slow-mo on it and everything. Nice. Last round. So she's just teeping. She's acting like she's in the lead, basically. She's gone back to this kind of retreating, just kind of keeping me off of her, which is not a bad plan, but it's not Karchit. Again, we don't know. Neither of us know. Oh. Little Baran elbow there. They keep saying Duuglas. This means like every weapon. This means like capable of every weapon. People who only box, that's not Duuglas. So if someone has like a range of weapons that they employ, that's what he's excited about, is that we're both using lots of different weapons. So Duugluk. Oh, she's just locking me out with that long ass knee. I try to do a spinning elbow again. It's fancy, but it's not landing. That's all right. Oh, yai. She's much bigger than me, and it's very evident at this point. Oh, that was a nice knee. Again, no points. This doesn't matter. None of this matters. It just is exciting. If you guys have seen, or if you own the Sylvie Legend shirt, that's my face, that's from this fight. That's from after this fight. My first Chuek fight. That's that shirt. Oi. Oi, oh, almost tripped her there. Digging my head in, which is really good. She's trying to like muscle with her shoulder. Oh, that landed on her face. She's like, oh, she's got a very nice like boxer's backwards gallop where she's just kind of like pivoting me, like matadoring a little bit. Oh, that knee landed. Another drag back. I'm like, remember last round? So we're like, yay, because we both think that we won, but that's not how Chuek works. So the ref is like, you don't have to go to your corners. There's no like looking at the scorecards. Scorecards don't exist. So he just grabs both of us and gives the samu. So we're both like, how is that a draw? Because we don't know, but it's a draw because it's Chuek. Yeah, so that was my first Chuek fight. It was very, very exciting. And afterwards, they took me in an ambulance, a small ambulance, to the hospital to get stitches because they didn't have a doctor on site. And it was very funny. The EMTs were talking about how I had a six-pack. They were like, Chuek, six-pack doy. Like, and she has a six-pack. It's a very fond memory of me. There's a lot of things in that fight that were like very memorable and fun.
Hey, I'm in Nakhon and I just finished my fight. It was Chuek, blood all over it because I got cut in, I think, like the second or third round from a front elbow. Got to work on those. But my opponent's really tough. It's a really good fight, and I did like spinning elbows and stuff because like, apparently Chuek suits me really well. So it's a draw, fight 187, and I'll talk to you guys.